You've been lied to. For decades, women over 40 have been fed the same tired advice about weight loss, and it's not only wrong, it's keeping you stuck. So in today's episode, I'm breaking down the 5 myths that the diet industry still wants you to believe and what actually works when your hormones, metabolism, and mindset start to change. Okay, y'all, I am feeling a little salty today, and I have to let it out. I did a live event last night, and I was with hundreds and hundreds of women who were all talking about the same misguided beliefs that they have been told for decades. And when I asked these women, how long have you been dieting or obsessing about food in your body? The decades that people admitted to, it was just so heartbreaking. Because it was not just 5, 10 years, which is bad enough, but 20, 30, 40 years. So the majority of the women that I was with were over 40. And I realized there are so many lies that women over 40 still believe about weight loss. And today I have to unpack 5 of them. I mean, I think I could say 50, to be honest with you, but we're going to talk about the top 5 that I'm just like, I just am over it. And I just need all of us to be over it as well, because we're not doing ourselves any service. I was talking about a story around one of my clients named Jen, who when she came to me, she was over 300 pounds. She was diabetic, and she was literally dieted around diabetes. She had been on every single diet known to man, including gastric bypass. And yet still there she was, over 300 pounds. And most importantly, like, weight gain and stubborn weight loss is a symptom of something else going on. And we keep going after weight loss. We keep being told lies and a whole bunch of BS about weight that we are just we're confused, but this is the biggest piece about this. We continue to believe them because deep in our soul, we believe that the problem is us. And so the weight loss industry has us kind of the stronghold on us, and they can tell us anything they want, and we keep believing them. When I did my TEDx in South Africa, I was really focused on the weight loss industry. And in my research, I was like, it is a $150 billion a year industry projected to grow to a $300 billion a year one in just 5 years with a 90% failure rate. And I say that all the time because I'm like, with a 90% failure rate, it is so genius that they have us believing that we are the problem. And we keep going back for more. And so today I'm going to unpack 5 lies that women over 40 still believe about weight loss. And so let's just dig into it, because I'm feeling so inspired by these women's stories. And I spent an hour and a half with them, and I'm in a place now where I'm like, I need to consolidate. I actually went to bed last night just sort of writing some of my thoughts. And I was like, I gotta record this today. I got to do it. So I got my notebook that I took that I wrote in while I was in bed last night. And so let's dig into this. So the first one is this concept of working. This is what I heard a ton of times yesterday. Well, the diet worked for me until I hit a certain age or until I hit menopause. And then diets don't work anymore once you hit menopause. And so that's the first one we need to unpack, because what I need us to recognize and really think about is, what does our definition of working mean? What does it mean? Because I don't think we go one layer deep. We just talk about it working. I actually saw a post recently of a nutrition coaching company, a really, really big one, that talked about results and guaranteeing results. Now, I know I can guarantee results with my clients, but are we on the same page about what results mean? Because just losing weight does not necessarily mean you're going to fix all the other things that are actually the things we're struggling with. If weight gain is a symptom of health and hormones, then just losing weight is only getting rid of one of the symptoms. And so we need to redefine what working means. And let's be really clear, diets, anything that has to do with restriction. I always say what thrives in a deficit. Diets work. They work exactly the way they're designed to work. You're restricting, you're depriving, you're putting your body at a deficit in order to lose a little bit of weight. But I know plenty of skinny, unhealthy people. People with cancer that lose weight are not healthy. And so we have to stop associating something working solely with weight loss. Now, weight loss is one of the byproducts of having your body truly in homeostasis and in balance. But if that's our definition of working, well, then you could just go starve yourself. Literally, just go starve yourself. And that will work. But the reason why the diet industry, the weight loss industry have a 90% failure rate is because it's designed to work for a short-term, quote unquote, work, right? Designed to let you lose weight for a little bit, make you feel all excited. And the younger you are, the easier it is to do that. But every single time you're doing that, you're actually throwing off your hormones, you're throwing off your metabolism, you're throwing off your cellular function, you're throwing off your metabolic balance and function. You're throwing off so many things. So it's not menopause that causes the problem. It's the years and years of cycling through this yo-yo process that is throwing your body so out of whack that now your hormones are so jacked up. Yes, you might be in menopause, but the hormonal imbalance has been caused by all the years of dieting. And that's one of the pieces of the puzzle that we just don't understand. So I need us to redefine what working means. And it is a myth to think that a diet works just because you lose weight. Diet works, it's based in science, but it's not designed for your body to thrive. So instead, we need to be thinking about what will allow me to thrive. Thrive in my life, in my lifestyle, in my work, in my balance, in my stress, in every aspect of my life. Okay, number 2. This sort of goes along with number 1, but I have to say this because this is the biggest thing. And when women work with me in my private practice, we have ways that we can work with people kind of at a larger scale. But for me to be able to work with women and my coaches directly, I have a private practice. And we do a phone call with a woman first because we got to get a sense of where they are. If they're like, I have to lose weight to be confident, I have to lose weight for a wedding, I'm like, listen, if you're not willing to actually have a commitment to you, that's why I'm wearing the hat, that you love yourself too much to not show up for yourself, to not learn how to show up for yourself, not how to learn how to be the healthiest version of yourself, that you're not ready for me yet. You're just not. And I don't want you to come to me too soon before you're ready because it's not going to stick. And then you're going to feel like it didn't quote unquote work. So this second myth is around the concept of weight loss, because focusing on weight does not mean you are focusing on health. And when I say to women, this is the question I'm going to ask you. What do you want? Do you want weight loss or do you want health? Because with one, you'll get none. With the other, you'll get both. Guaranteed. Because you've already done the weight loss thing. Jen, who I told you about, she was going after weight loss her whole life. And when she came to me, she could barely walk up the stairs. She was 300 pounds and diabetic. Now, she goes to the gym every single morning at 5 o'clock. She's unbelievably fit and toned because she loves herself, because she focused on becoming the healthiest version of herself. And it becomes a natural byproduct when that is happening. So the myth that we should focus on weight is one that women over 40 just keep going after, but I know why. The weight loss industry wants you to believe that you need them. Think about this. You can tell me you've tried every diet. The average woman starts and stops 6 diets a year, times that by 40 years. It's crazy. I have a woman that in her 40s came to me and she said she had done 50 diets in her life before she came to me. So I get it, right? You think you've tried it all. So what's next? Weight loss shots, because you've already tried it all. And that's what your doctor talks about. And it's about weight loss, weight loss, weight loss. Well, what if you actually shifted to becoming the healthiest version of yourself, focusing instead of the BS that they teach you, the BS that you really need, your belief systems, get them in check, behavioral science, understanding why you do what you do, and blood sugar, understanding that that's your body's love language. And when you do all three of those and you focus on health in a sustainable way, I mean, that then makes you realize, oh, maybe I haven't tried it all. Right? All right, number 3. The myth that you have to track your food or your calories in order to be successful. I see this all the time on social media. And I literally, it's like I want to comment on, and I do sometimes comment, but other times I'm like, I'm just going to start a fight and I don't feel like starting a fight. So I'm not going to do it because everybody, every like nutritionist in the world, unless they were certified by me in my certification program, believes in calories. And some of them may say like, no, we don't want to track and things like that. A lot of times people in the intuitive eating world talk about that, but they don't really give you a solid plan on how to fuel your body. It's more like intuitively. And I used to joke that when I was pregnant, if I was doing intuitive eating, I just intuitively would have wanted a Big Mac all the time because that's what I wanted when I was pregnant. So 3 questions you have to ask yourself before starting any nutritional advice. 1, is it based in science designed for your body to thrive? 2, can you do it for the rest of your life? Can you enter in all the food that you've been eating in an app or in a notebook for the rest of your life? Karen Lynn, who was one of my clients, is now one of my coaches, she had 10 years of food journals every single day for 10 years. What is that? 365 times 10. It's like a lot of math. But that's a lot of writing. And I think how much more could she have done with her time if she wasn't doing that? By the time when she first came to me, she just like Jen, she couldn't walk up the stairs. She had dieted her way to disease, but she'd written every freaking piece of food down that she had eaten. We got her to throw away her journals, throw away the scale. She went and met with her doctor, and she's not only down like 100 pounds, but she goes to CrossFit every day. She literally is the epitome of the healthiest version of herself. And she doesn't know how many calories she eats, and she doesn't track any of her food. It's a myth, you guys. It's a myth. The 3rd question that you have to ask yourself before starting any nutritional advice is, would you let your kids do it? Would you let your kids track the food that they eat? No. So why are you doing it? And let's be honest, like I get so mad. I realize I've been getting really mad about this lately. My kids started talking about calories when they were 5 and 6 years old. And I have taken so much blame for that. I have taken so much like just personal defeat over being like the worst mom ever, because I was like, I swear I never talked about calories. I swear this was and I realized like, well, first of all, of course you were talking about calories because that was all I knew. And you can't teach what you don't know. You can't transfer what you don't have. You can't teach a new belief if your belief is stuck in a certain way. And so I didn't like teach my kids about calories, but clearly I exuded conversation. Like I feel like I sweat out the conversation of calories. They knew it. So, but this is what really bothers me about it, where people are like, oh, that's terrible. That's so terrible. That would be terrible to have your kids talk about calories. That would be terrible to have your kids track their food. Oh, okay. So why are we doing it? Why is that what we teach women to do? Because if kids shouldn't do it, well, then what age is it appropriate? Like, do I wait until my daughter's 16 to have her start tracking calories? Or do I do it when she's 21? Like, is there an age limit that makes sense to start talking about destructive concepts like calories? Or should we actually all be centered around the concepts of loving our body, showing up for ourselves, understanding how our body actually functions, recognizing the difference between health and weight, and the concept of consistency? Like discipline. Diets don't allow us to be disciplined because it's like an all or nothing kind of mentality. Is that how we want our kids growing up? Well, what are we supposed to teach our kids? Like choose an apple over a candy bar? That's not going to cut it in the long term. You know that because it didn't cut it for you, and then you had to resort to tracking all your food. You don't have to track your food. It is a complete and total myth. If you are eating in the way that I teach my clients, right? We call it PFC3. It's trademarked. It's a registered trademark. It's proven over decades of the work that I have done with Mark McDonald. And think about it, a protein, fat, and carb every 3 hours. If your kids could learn protein, fat, and carbs and what they were, a lot of women I talk to have no idea that an apple is a carb. right? They only think about bread and donuts and things like that. Those are carbs too. We don't know enough about food. But if we eat a protein, fat, and carb, our hormones don't have to do all sorts of work trying to balance this blood sugar on its own. And we're always ready to eat satisfied, ready to eat satisfied. We're eating about every 3 hours and we know how to pair our food. Do you have to be perfect? No, you have to be intentional. You have to serve your body more than you serve your soul, but you should absolutely serve your soul. Can you imagine if our kids knew that? That's why I'm working on PFC Pals, a nutritional literacy program for kids. You know, we're still teaching kids the freaking food pyramid. I just saw the food pyramid on a loaf of bread the other day in the grocery store. And I'm like, well, of course, because the bread manufacturers want you to believe in the food pyramid because that's more sales for them. But that's what I saw a poster in a school the other day about it. I'm like, oh my gosh. No wonder we have childhood obesity at the highest rate ever. 38% of teenagers are pre-diabetic. Like, what? So now we're going to go after weight loss for them? No, we're going to go after health. But you can't teach it if you don't know it. And so tracking all your food is not healthy. It's just not healthy. It's not healthy for your life. So we got to stop doing that. We got to learn how to balance our blood sugar, PFC3, focus on that. That is going to give you everything that you need. You could actually go, we haven't released the book yet or the curriculum yet that we're going to be launching to schools and grocery stores and homeschooling and homes. But if you go on Instagram, PFC Pals, we just literally launched it. We're still working with the illustrators. The stories are amazing. The learning opportunities are going to be so incredible. So go and do that. That's going to help you too. Okay. Number 4, without a goal weight, you have no measure of progress. Another myth that we have been told, and we just continue to be lied to by the diet and weight loss industry. A goal weight is never going to get you there. First of all, I'm going to tell you something that is like mind blowing. You cannot control your weight. This is another way that they have bamboozled us into believing that we are wrong, that we have done something wrong, that is our fault, our lack of willpower, and you can't reach your goal weight. A goal weight that's like saying I have a goal of no more than 5 rainy days in the month. Like, essentially, it's kind of the same thing. Now, not exactly, because at the end of the day, that is an outcome goal. Weight loss is a symptom of health and hormones. And one of the outcomes of actually taking a hold of your health, becoming the healthiest version of yourself from the inside and the out, will result in weight loss if your body needs to lose weight. When you get to your optimal health, you're going to get to your optimal weight. I don't know what that is. You don't know what that is. Your doctor doesn't know what that is. The BMI scale, forget that. That is absolutely stupid. But nobody, A, knows your goal weight, and B, you have to recognize, especially as you get older, it may not be the number you have in your head. Just because you were a certain weight when you were 20 doesn't A, mean you were healthy, because you were probably on a diet then too. It also doesn't mean that is the optimal weight for you today as a 40, 50, 60-year-old woman. So going for the goal weight, A, doesn't even make sense because you're throwing mud at the wall. But B, you don't have control over it. It's an outcome goal. That is an outcome. You only have control over your behaviors. Those behaviors that should get you to an outcome. So if your behaviors are going to McDonald's every day, well, then you're never going to reach your outcome goal of losing weight. You just won't. But if you have a behavior that says, I'm going to show up for myself like 5 days a week and doing strength training. I am going to eat PFC3 balanced. I'm going to serve my body more than I serve my soul. Those are behavior goals. Think about it. Like if you say, I have a goal of having no cavities. Okay, right? Okay. But how are you going to do that? Like your goal of having no calories is kind of out of your control. You can only control the actions that have been proven to get you to the place of not having calories. Oh my gosh, it's like my brain is not having cavities. But at the end of the day, it's really about your own daily dental hygiene. And that's what let's just throw at the goal weight. Let's just throw at the scale. Because the scale, let's be honest, you stand on that scale, it will make or break your day. And if it's not what you think it should be, it can ruin your entire week. You know if you're gaining weight or you're losing weight. Why do you need that number? Why? The only number that I even focus on at all is the number on my barbell. Like the weight I'm lifting in the gym. That tells me if I'm getting stronger. That tells me if I'm making progress. The scale does not. Do you have more energy? Are you sleeping longer? There's so many other measures of progress that would allow you to know if you are getting healthier. Are your clothes fitting differently? Like skin, joint pain. I have a client, Jen, who had hip bursitis, and she was like, and in 1 month, it was gone. It was gone. I have another client, Anne, who within 2 weeks went off the depression medication she had been on for 25 years. When you focus on the weight and the scale and think about goal weight, you then lose the ability to see all the other measures of progress. It's like when somebody loses one of their senses, like say the sense of sight, suddenly their hearing is so much more enhanced, right? It's like that. If you lose the need and the concept of a number on a scale, you are suddenly forced to open your mind and heart to all the other areas of progress. You're so much more self-aware. You're so much more in tune with what's going on in your body, inside and out. All right, the last one. This is what I get all the time, Carrie. Listen, Carrie. I know that you talk a lot about like learning how to love yourself and digging in and doing work now, like showing up for yourself in morning time and stuff like that. But honestly, I just need a meal plan. I just need you to tell me what to eat. And I'm like, I'm not your girl. I can tell you what to eat, but it's not going to matter. I've worked with thousands and thousands of people. And in fact, like around the first year that I started working with people around nutrition, I worked with 250 women and I told them what to eat. I gave them a meal plan. I didn't need to work with them very long because it's not hard. That's like the easiest piece. Every one of my clients are like, that's the thing that's eluded me for my whole life. And that's actually the thing that's really simple. You don't need a meal plan. You need an education. You need to understand how to fly your own plane. I want you to think about your body like a plane. For too long, you've been the passenger in your own plane, having no idea how to fly it. A meal plan is like a script, somebody else's script for your life. And your life is not a script. A meal plan only works if you like all the foods and your life is perfect. Well, do you like all the foods and is your life perfect? No, well then a meal plan's not going to work. You need to learn about your body, what it needs, why you do the things you do, how to show up consistently, what your beliefs are that are impacting your actions, what your behavior is your behavioral needs are, the triggers, your personality that are impacting your actual actions. And you need to understand not just the physiology of the human body, but the physiology of your body. You need to become the pilot of your own plane. You need to learn how to actually fly it. And so a meal plan will never put you in the cockpit. It will always keep you in the passenger seat. But imagine when you are on vacation, when you are having a crazy time at work, when you are like having major changes in your life, like the birth of a new baby, getting married, having grandkids, moving. You need to be able to shuck and jive, to be able to adjust, because your life is never going to be a script. Certainly not somebody else's script. And you know it's not your own because curveballs happen all the time. So we have this misconception that a meal plan is going to fix it all. It's a bunch of BS. I never give a woman just a meal plan. Do they have a plan? Yes. But they know it. They learn it. They understand it. They can speak to it so intensely that they could teach it. So what does that mean? That means there's 5 things, and I could name, like I said, 50, but 5 things that if we could just stop believing right now, we could make so much more progress. Number 1, working. What does it mean when something is working? Number 2, focusing on weight instead of health. Number 3, feeling like you need to track all your food or your calories or your macros. Number 4, goal weight. Get rid of it. Focus on a behavior goal. And number 5, that you need a meal plan. Let's work together to unveil the craziness and the BS of the diet industry. Share this episode, subscribe to our channel, and let's literally disrupt everything we've been told about weight loss, confidence, and self-worth. Because when you love yourself too much to not show up for yourself, it changes everything. And if you want something different, you got to do something different. So go ahead and do that and comment. I'd love to hear about what you think about this.